One Take Talks.
Do you ever struggle to open one of these? Well, I'm going to share with you 6 ways to open a jar of pickles that's stuck tight. Now, I did a little bit of searching on the internet and I found some ways that, well, you're probably already familiar with, but I'll share them anyway just in case. Of course, you know the technique. You can give the jar a whack on the bottom. Maybe that'll help a bit. You can, of course, tap on the lid with a knife, or if you're feeling particularly adventurous, you can pour some hot water under the rim like so. Now, what these 3 methods have in common is they are all about breaking the seal before even trying to twist off the lid. Of course, there are some other techniques. You can hold the lid with a cloth, or if you don't have a cloth, you could certainly use your shirt, or even use a mechanical jar opener. Now, I would show you my mechanical jar opener, but I don't have one. You can go to Amazon or other sites to see what mechanical jar openers look like. I think you get the picture. Anyway, what these last 2 methods have in common is they're all about getting a better grip on the lid while opening. But what if I were to tell you that there's a 6th way that uses wrist strength? So this is a pickle jar lid. You know how it works. You twist it to the left to loosen and to the right to tighten. Pretty straightforward. There are a couple ways you can hold the lid. Now, one of these ways involves holding the jar with the right hand, the lid with the left hand, opening like so. This involves a motion called wrist extension, where the wrist extends outward. Now, the other way of holding a jar of pickles is switched. So the jar of pickles in the left hand, the lid in the right hand, opening like so. This involves a motion called wrist flexion, where the wrist flexes inward. Now, which of these 2 approaches is better? Wrist extension or wrist flexion? Well, I found this research paper on Google Scholar. It appears in the journal Biomedical Engineering Online. Now, this is an open access journal, which means you can read the entire paper for free. I've included the link below in the description. What the researchers did here is they tested wrist strength in different wrist positions. They were interested in the prone or palm down position, neutral position, and the supine or palm up position. And they used the machine to test wrist strength in these different positions on a number of test subjects. And here's what they found. So for wrist extension, there was moderate wrist strength for the prone, neutral, and supine positions. Okay, then they looked at wrist flexion and they found there was significantly greater strength for the prone, neutral, and especially supine position. So there are a couple takeaways from this paper. The first takeaway, let me dry this jar off a little bit, it's still wet. The first takeaway is that wrist flexion is stronger than wrist extension, meaning that the strongest position is to hold the jar in the left hand and the lid in the right hand. But what we also learned is that the supine or palm up position is especially strong for wrist flexion. And so it makes sense to tip the hand over a little bit to get that palm up position on the right hand. And that can give you the maximum wrist strength to open a jar. I think a lot of us hold a jar like this somewhat intuitively also when we're really trying to open a jar, and there's scientific evidence to back that. Let's give this a try. Oh my gosh, this one's tight. Okay, we have to use a combination of techniques. I'm going to give the lid a good whack and use a cloth. Let's see if this works. Oh, oh man. That was a tough pickle jar to open. And you know what? It's not even the best pickle. That was a lot of effort. But the point there, what you just saw, is the wrist flexion technique by itself isn't going to be the solution. You probably have to combine some different methods to have success in getting that jar of pickles open. What's your technique? I just used a bunch of different techniques and eventually I got that lid off. But maybe you have your own special combination of techniques. Yeah, let me know in the comments, and thanks for watching.